In this video, we're going to look at how ComplyPro can be used for specification development. From our content screen, let's click through and review our sponsor or stakeholder requirements. By doing this, it launches us into a split screen where to the left-hand side we can see our main set of stakeholder requirements. These could have either been entered manually or they could have been imported into the system from a supplied specification from the client. To the right-hand side, you'll see a set of linked tabs. These are just like at the bottom of Excel, representing different worksheets, and they will display to us sets of information as linked to the information on the left-hand side. So, what exactly am I looking at? Well, my stakeholder requirements to the left contain a set of information. They're split up by columns, and we can see a status associated with these. There's an owner that's been allocated, the actual statement of the requirement itself. As we scroll to the right, we can also see on our stakeholder requirements screen the separate child requirements or the derived requirements that have been that are the result of breaking down this stakeholder requirement into a derived specification, i.e. these are the four requirements define how I'm going to meet this stakeholder requirement. So you'll see on the item below that there are no child requirements to this statement that are existing in this particular sheet. So if I take a look at this statement now, you'll see that there are no children to the right hand side, i.e. there are no derived requirements beneath this particular statement. So I want to derive out a response to this particular statement here from the client side. The way that I will do that is make sure that I've got my tab selected where my children are. I will select the item, which I already have done, that I want to create a derived requirement below. I'll right click on the row and I will choose to create a derived requirement. You'll see now that that derived requirement has filled in to the right hand side with a temporary ID that will change to a permanent ID at such time as the information is saved back into the system. I can scroll to the right, obviously, because I'm on a small screen right now. Let's fill in this information. So my requirement is, I will do it like this. Okay, so I can fill in a set of requirements in here. So just by right-clicking and creating another derived requirement, so I can put something else in this particular statement. So I can build up the hows that what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it to satisfy the client's requirement to the left hand side. So if I scroll along now, okay, I can work on this in a draft state. I can complete owners, due by dates, the comments, and I can even see in here in the system who's last updated this and when. That will only update at such time as I save this. So if I look at the status now, I'll propose these. So on save, these will get proposed. So slightly off screen there. So what I can also do is move the proportion between the left and the right hand side. So that will now let me see a greater proportion of space in my link area compared to my main area on the left. So I can now fill this out. So my owner, Joe, and Jim. So moving along further, my due date, okay, let me put this in, let's just say on the 11th of December 2012. Okay, so now I've populated that. Okay, I won't populate the others at this point. When I save that into the system, so let's save this now, you will notice that if I click back, it's now changed to show me my complete set of derived requirements with my information saved into it. But if I look back and just filter this to the children only, you will see on here that now we've got a last update by and last update on that's been automatically populated into this system. So the idea being then that If I look back to my home page and therefore look at the sponsor's requirements or the derived requirements, whichever one I choose will bring into focus to the left hand side, I can build up a set of derived requirements that will serve to satisfy my set of stakeholder requirements or sponsor requirements that I've imported into the system. And as a result of that, I can once again from the home page look at a set of metrics that define to me where, what my requirement count is like between my stakeholder requirement set and my derived requirement set, so I can see to what proportion do I have draft requirements, ones that have been proposed, or ones that have been accepted by the requirements manager. So, looking back through into the stakeholder requirement set, I can see some other information to the right hand side that could be of use. We'll also look at this a little bit further in some specific videos later on. But against any particular statement in my requirement set, I can see other information as linked to it. So not only can I see requirements that are derived beneath this particular top level requirement, but I can also see here any linked changes to this particular requirement. So I can see here that a change has been accepted against this requirement proposed by myself and accepted by the change manager, and it was a proposed change to text of this particular statement item. I can also see any linked issues, which is once again another section that we'll look at a little bit later. So the issues section, when these are raised and processed, they can also be linked back against the specification item that they are referring to, if relevant. And in this case, there are two issues or assumptions possibly that are linked back against this particular item here. If I look at this item, you'll see that there are none linked against this particular specification item. And lastly, in this system, I've got linked hazards. So any hazard that's been identified and is linked back against this particular specification item will be displayed in the link section to the right hand side. Now this gives me the traceability that I need in order to be able to make effective and educated decisions about these requirement sets. For example, if I am processing a change in my change management module and I want to make a change against this particular requirement, then before I accept that change and incorporate it, I will want to see what would be affected by that, so I can look at the derived requirements to this particular specification item by looking on its particular children, and I can see that if I was to change this, that could have an impact on this, so I can review these requirements further down the tree. I could also see if any issues or assumptions that were being managed in the system would be affected, and also any hazards which had been identified against a particular item would be affected at all, especially where the mitigations that had been put in place might be countered in some way. So that gives me some traceability, and it gives me the ability to be able to look and make comparison between the different sections of the system and where things are linked back to the requirements, to be able to pull that information into one place, as opposed to your typical set of Excel spreadsheets that fly around being managed by independent people, interface managers, change managers, requirements managers, hazard managers, and it brings this information into one clear place so that decisions can be made against a requirement, especially when it comes to the queries as to why a requirement may not be ready yet in this simple example. It may well be because there is an open issue or assumption that's not been closed off yet and preventing this from being closed out. Thanks very much.